Mayor, your head's half cut off.
So is yours, Gary.
All right, we're ready.
There you go.
All right.
Gary's hair now.
I would like to go ahead and call the Tuesday, May 5th, 2020 Warrenton Board of Alderman meeting into session. Once again, we are doing this via Zoom due to the COVID-19 restrictions of staying 6 feet apart. It is more convenient for us to be able to do it on Zoom. We apologize for any inconvenience give to any of the public that wants to watch or participate in the meetings. But there are means to participate, and we encourage you to do that. With that, I'll open the meeting and open it up with the consent agenda.
We have the regular and the work session minutes from April 21st, 2020, and the emergency meeting minutes from April 27th, 2020.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
If I heard right, I think the first was Alderman Ock, second was Alderman Schultz. Is that correct, Randy? Melody?
I have Alderman Dyer.
Okay, Dyer. Sorry about that, Alderman Dyer.
That's okay.
Gonna have little bumps here and there. Nice deep voice there. Motion made by Alderman Ock, seconded by Alderman Dyer. Roll call vote.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. Melody, are there any public comments that we received?
no, sir.
There are none.
Nope.
Next, we'll have Board of Alderman comments. If there are any.
Well, the only thing I have to say is all of the restrictions that we tried to put in place for the good of the community, I find very few people understanding why we're trying to do this. I was telling Terry earlier, or Gary, having been at Walmart yesterday, very, very few people had masks on, almost none, with the exception of the Walmart employees. And you know, when you read through the guidelines, I don't know of any states or cities that are following these guidelines right now. The medical community clearly said that there should be 2 weeks of downward trend before things started going back to normal. None of that has happened anywhere. So I have concerns that by the end of the month, we may be in worse shape than we're in right now. I sincerely hope that's not true, but I think as a board, we tried to do what was best for the community. I think all of us spent a lot of time explaining why we felt these restrictions were necessary. But as a board, I think we've done everything that we can do. And if they don't pay any attention, it's not on us at this point. That's the way I feel about it.
Well put.
Well, I think, you know, we talked about should the city do more in enforceable. I was driving home tonight and heard on the news that a couple companies, I think in St. Louis County, were suing the head of the county because of the restrictions put on by the county and felt like it was denying them certain rights. So, you know, if you don't put on restrictions, you're criticized. If you do, you're criticized and you could be sued. So it's a no-win situation.
Right.
And I have to say at Walmart, when we were up there, there was a lot of people with masks, but they were older people. That was kind of amazing. And I don't know what time of the day you went. I can't remember what time we went, but it was a lot of older people with masks, and that really surprised me, you know. So I think it just depends on the time of day and who the client
Well,
is.
that could be, this was yesterday about 5 or 5:30. And I can assure you, besides myself, I may have seen 3 people with masks on. I mean, nobody was following social distancing. It's really, it's disappointing for one thing that I just don't think some people get it. I don't know. I guess I'm old and I just, they tell me to do something and I'm like, okay, I get it. I understand the consequences of this, but I think as a board, we have absolutely done everything we can do to protect the safety of our citizens. And now I'm ready to say, okay, I'm going to abide by the rules, but if you're not, it's on you.
Well, and I'll just jump in just for a minute. I agree. I think the problem is, and I see both sides. I see where it needs to be, that needs to be taken maybe a little more seriously. But at the same time, it's almost like the news channels are giving so much conflicting information. I get where people are saying, is this really truly as bad as it really is? Or is this just a spin by the media? And we've had so much of that play lately. I mean, when I talk to somebody, you honestly sit there and go, I mean, I know it's bad because I'm a first responder by job, my first and foremost job. But at the same time, I get where they're coming from on some of it. It's like, I wish there was some regulation to stop putting out, because if it was just straight facts and not personal opinions or 9 different opinions that vary in so drastically in what they believe, then maybe it would be taken more seriously. But I think there's so many conspiracy theories out there and everything else that it's hard. I mean, I even find myself getting drawn into it sometimes and going, maybe they're right, and then you get snapped back to reality once you start reading CDC guidelines and doing things that are going on and going, okay, no, it needs to be followed.
Well,
So,
we'll know at the end of the month, won't we?
Well, I understand what you're saying, Cheryl, with it's like that. But I mean, I guess all in all, I could see both sides. I wish there was a way to control that, but there never is. They're always going to, especially with social media out there on the internet, there's always going to be someone being able to voice their opinion and causing doubt or causing. So I want you to understand, I get your side. It's just, man, some of those other arguments can be very convincing too, and it's like, then I go back and see the reality and it's like, no, I mean, it's not that way. So
I think you've got 2 segments of people. One wants to follow rules and understand, and then there's others that say the government's not going to tell me what to do. And there you are.
Well, the old cliche, the proof's in the pudding. We'll know in about a month or less.
Yep, that's true.
Yep.
It's going to take a month to get the pudding.
If you want chocolate.
That's good pudding, buddy. All right. Anybody else got comments? All right. We'll move along to City Administrator Terry Thorne.
Okay. My first item for you this evening is the discussion related to the annual sales tax holiday, which is always the first weekend in August. So it'll be August 1st and 2nd this year. If we choose to participate, then we take no action. If we choose to opt out, then we need to take action to vote to opt out and then to notify the state that we are opting out of the sales tax holiday. I believe every year since the sales tax holiday has been in place, the city has chosen to be a part of that and to honor the sales tax holiday.
Well, I'm all about opting out and staying with the position we had in prior years. I think if I recall right from the Finance Committee report or that we got, that our sales tax numbers are about a little bit above budget by 1%. So not that opting in or out would change that significantly. I'm all for staying out of it and just doing what we've been in the past.
Is there anyone who does not agree with continuing to honor the sales tax holiday?
No, not
No.
me.
Sounds like everybody agrees, Terry.
Okay, great.
I know,
We will.
I know it's a difficult one to talk about, but I think you got your answer pretty quick.
Great, that's awesome. So my second item is just more for public information. I shared all of this with you last Friday on your Friday update. But effective Monday of this week with the reopening of the state, we have opened the lobby of City Hall to the public. We have taken actions to minimize the possibility of the spread of the pandemic. So we've removed all of the lobby chairs except one, so that should we have someone who's in need of that because of disability or whatever, it's available. But we don't want people sitting beside each other in the lobby area. We also are taking every precaution that we can to make sure that we are keeping our employees as safe as we possibly can. So we are bringing them back to work in staggered work schedules to prohibit as many people being there at the same time as is possible, yet to still get everyone back in and get their jobs done. We have always been doing sanitization of all of the touching surfaces within City Hall twice a day. We've been doing that now for a couple of months. We'll continue doing that. If more than one employee is in a city vehicle, we're requiring them to wear masks in addition to wear masks anytime that they're working in close proximity to each other. So maintaining social distancing at all times for city employees is of the utmost importance. We are also working to get thermometers in so that when employees come to work, we'll be taking their temperatures. Brandy had some that should have been delivered but got waylaid somewhere along the supply chain before they got to us. So she's still working on that. But we are trying to ensure that if we have any symptomatic employees, that they are sent home if they come to work with symptoms, and they're required to have a physician's approval before they return to work. And we, in fact, today had to send someone out because they are residing in a home with someone who has been exposed. So we will observe that 14-day period to make sure that they are in fact clear so that we are not subjecting other employees to that. So we are taking every precaution, not only to ensure that they're trying to keep the public as safe as possible, but our employees as well. We will continue to observe all of the safety measures until there is a change in the state to a phase 2 or the end of the month, and then we will look at that again and see where we're at. So we want to make sure that we have staff that are available and healthy so that we can continue to provide services to our residents and make sure that that's done successfully. So we continue every day to look at things that we should change or do to ensure those safety precautions are in place.
So Terry,
Yes, sir.
as far as the thermometers, has Brandy reached out to either the health department or to EOC, the Emergency Operations Center, to see if they have any that can be either lent out or they may have access to?
I actually did reach out to the health department and was told that they are just ordering them online off of Amazon, which is where my order went in and got lost. The actual product did. So we are actually, as of today, we have located some at Lowe's, we located some at Walgreens, and we only need one more and we will be good.
Okay.
And I think that we have one that we can borrow in the meantime.
Okay, excellent.
Tomorrow.
Okay. The next item I have for you is really just from an operational perspective. we are not aware that there are any operationally items that are being overlooked. So I would just ask all of you, if you become aware of something that's being missed or something that we are not addressing, to please let us know. It seems to have gone extremely well. We've really had no complaints. So it is working as best as we could possibly hope for at this point. But I do ask you, if you do hear of something that we might be missing, please let us know. And that's all I have.
Will do. I appreciate it, Terry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Terry from the board?
I have one, Mayor. I noticed as went through the departments and the items that have been put on hold. Looks like there's a number of them. And this might be a question for Dana too. Any trend that you see as far as the month of April revenue and the expenses that we've got back on? Is that
Yeah,
showing?
that's a great question. Yeah. So we are starting to see on the April sales tax we received. April sales tax for us really means sales during the month of February. So it's still very early in the process. We are starting to see a slight downturn, which we anticipated, not at too dramatic of a level. You know, it still puts us maybe 2% below budget for April year to date. How it's going to turn out for March, we don't know just yet, but I don't know how Terry feels, but I don't know that it's time to start adding anything back in yet, but
Yeah,
we are seeing a downward. Mhm.
our plan, Alderman Miller, is to continue to keep the projects that are on a hold status through the end of the fiscal year. And then we will carry those over into the New Year's budget, because I believe it's going to be very near the end of this fiscal year before we even have an idea of how this pandemic is going to affect our sales tax, because it runs so far behind to be able to really look at those numbers. So we won't take anything off of a hold status until we get into July.
Okay, thank you. I have no doubt you'll be right on top of it.
Any other questions for Terry? All righty. Next, thank you again, Terry. Next,
You're
we'll hear the Director of Operations, Brandy Walters.
Good evening. I don't have anything for you tonight.
That was pretty simple.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Next, does anybody have any questions for Brandy?
Not me.
Next, we'll hear from Finance Officer Dana Blasek.
Good evening. You have before you a list of claims for your approval tonight. Claims totaling $184,832.90. Were there any questions regarding those claims?
Dana, can you tell me what Intrado Groupcast is?
Brandy, do you happen to know that one off the top of your head?
We have a $4,300 what is
That's
that?
actually, that's an annual cost that we pay for. It's like a messenger, like school messenger, and it goes out. That's what we've been using to get out to all of the businesses.
Oh, okay.
We do it for all of our employees, and then eventually we're hoping that people will sign up and we can send out stuff to residents as well. That's
So
what that's
this
for.
is just an annual
Yes.
charge. Okay. Okay. It's my
I
own
noticed
question.
a amount on there. I think it was $1,995 to Warren County Council on Aging. I guess that's for meals.
You're correct. Yes.
Does that vary, or is that a set amount?
It may vary with the invoice that they send us, but it's a set amount per year. We only go up to X amount of dollars per year that we fund that with.
Okay, is that in addition to the 30,000 we okayed for them each year?
I don't think we paid 30,000 for Warren County Handicap Services. For senior center. I don't think that was the cap. I think the cap's much lower.
8,000 roughly is their maximum.
Oh, okay.
So Dana, let me just ask this real quick. You said the total claims were $184,832.09.
Yes,
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
okay.
Any other questions for Dana?
No,
In
not for me.
regards to the accounts payable.
No.
So
Nope.
the other item you have before you are the financial statements.
All right, give me 1 sec here. I will entertain a motion to approve the accounts payable in the amount of $184,090.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Miller and seconded by Alderman Dyer. I got it right that time. Roll call vote.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0. All right, Dana, go ahead.
Okay, on the financials before you, those are March financials. And again, as we already discussed, sales tax is slightly above budget as of March. Again, that includes January sales, actual store sales in January. Property tax, maybe slightly above budget, like $4,700 in the general fund. Franchise fees are lower, about $13,000. Permits about $20,000 above budget. In total, the general fund is $341,000 below budget, but the biggest item there is a $250,000 installment payment for the Highway 47 sidewalk project. We just asked them to move that out to April since we weren't far enough on the project to need those funds just yet, so we won't have extra interest payments. So that was the biggest item in the revenues. General fund expenses are below budget also, $517,000. $229,000 of that's related to personnel costs that's below budget, again with vacancies and other things going on. Liability insurance was below budget, and the rest is just training, supplies, and maintenance in the general fund. In the water and sewer fund, you'll notice that revenues are $238,000 above budget. 110 of that related to additional connection fees, just again, new construction. Operating expenses in the water and sewer fund, $417,000 below budget. And that includes about $82,000 of personnel cost, which is below budget. Electric is $40,000 below budget, as is pump repairs, $40,000 below budget also. The balance of those, again, related to supplies and maintenance. Were there any questions related to those March financials?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
I think we were good on that, Dana.
Okay.
That all you have?
That's it. Sorry. Yes.
Excellent. No, you're good. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dana.
Mhm.
Next, we'll hear from Aquatics Director Lisa Kramer.
Good evening. So this past Sunday, all the staff met together on a Zoom meeting to discuss our risk mitigation procedures so that when we do open, we'll have a plan in place. The lifeguards need to have some training and refreshers before we can open, and that has begun also this week. Although we don't have a specific time to open yet, we're waiting for to see what the CDC comes out with for guidelines. They have not yet come out with those. So we're waiting for that. I've ordered some masks that are UV protectant and waterproof, and I'm waiting for those to come in as well. When we do open, it will be in phases, with the first phase being lap swimming, river walking, and exercising. Other than that, that's what we've got happening right now. Any questions?
Nope.
I don't believe so.
I think so.
Thank you very much. Next, we'll hear from Public Works Director Guy Jeevers.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. First item I have is my monthly report. Been doing some dirt work and street sign replacement, upgraded a water service. We had 2 sewer calls. One was a private, one was on the city. And what's kind of funny is we've had it, last month we had 100 locates. This month we've had 159. So you start tracking down why so many locates, and it's cable TV. A lot of people got cable TV and needed to run wire to their house. The locates have been up. Any questions from the monthly report?
Guy, I have a question that I don't understand. On your 2020 distribution system report, the very first thing is occupancy changes in and out. Why does that go down every month? What is that?
So if an occupancy change out is if somebody moves out of a house and then somebody moves in. So it all depends on who's moving in and who's moving out.
But why do you think it goes down every month? So you're telling me that we had 91 people moved in or out in January, but by the time we got to April, we only had 55 people move in and out?
So that means people are staying put, they ain't moving out, really moving out. Most of them are, once somebody moves out, then we got, then usually somebody moves in. It's usually mostly renters for the ins and outs, or they're changing the service to somebody.
Okay.
So it's a service change in the name is what it is.
Okay.
So like a realtor sells a house and the water is in their name.
Yeah.
While the house is being for sale. Well, for the homeowner to come in who just purchased the house, you would call that an in and an out, because you're going to finalize the bill for the person that's moving out and then start a new account for the person moving in.
I guess that's why I assumed that's what it was, but I'm surprised that
Why the number
it hasn't increased instead of decreased. You know, I would have thought as it got warmer and came on to spring, that's when we would have more people coming and going. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, you've answered my question. Thanks.
All right. Any other questions? Next item I have, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I said I don't believe so.
Okay, so the next item I'm asking for approval for the Warrenton's Outlet Mall Sewer Interceptor bid. We had 7 bidders, and I'm recommending Pace Construction as the low bid for $999,500. The budget amount was $998,000. I'm under budget $1,500. And we're going to take that from the contingencies of $400,000 from the interchange budget.
Guy, I have a question on can you explain what an interceptor, what they're talking about here?
It's basically the sewer main. So like from manhole to manhole, that would be the sewer main. And it's going to run parallel with the south outer road in front of the outlet mall. And it's going to be on the north side of the service road. So that's going to run down in front of the outlet mall, get down close to the movie theaters in that general area, and then cross under the highway and tie into that main trunk line that was put in.
Okay, thank you.
Why do you think the engineers blew the bid cost so much? I mean, they were thinking this is going to cost us $1.5 million, and fortunately we're at 65% of their bid number.
So originally we were going to take it, on a hillside in front of the outlet mall, that big steep hill. that's where we were originally going to go after just the first initial look. And then after we looked at it, we determined we could take it on the outer road. The hillside got gas, water, fiber, so that would have raised the price of that up. So with us moving it on the other side of the outer road, there's no utilities there. So that's just going to be a tear up part of the street, run down the outer road along the fence, and then do the work on that instead of fighting that hillside.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Bid?
I'm sorry to step on somebody.
Oh, go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
Once again, and looking at these, it just, I don't know that I ever am satisfied with why there's such a big discrepancy. You know, with, okay, Pace is at 999,000. The closest one to them is Karenbrock with 1,046,000. And then it seems like, you know, they jump up to 1,005,000, 1,007,000. What is the difference? Why are we getting our money's worth when we always go with the lowest bid, or what's the? Why is there such a big discrepancy? I'm always concerned that we're always going with the lowest, or you maybe not getting the best bang for your buck.
So Understall Construction was the one that did the sewer line on the east side originally.
Who was?
Understall Construction.
Understall, okay.
Yeah, so he's at 1,004,000. Well, when he did the bid originally on the East Interceptor, he was low bid. The reason why Pace came down lower in cost was he's already doing a sewer line project here in town. So his setting up his equipment and getting it all here and staging it here, he could be a little bit less expensive on that part of it. And he doesn't necessarily show it, but realistically, his equipment right now is sitting on Robin Lane, and they started today on that sewer line. So with him knowing that he already had that, when he bidded it, he had the option because he's already on site.
So you think, Guy, that he does in fact, Pace does in fact meet the bid requirements?
Oh, absolutely. Engineering goes through that, and they go through the bid tabs, and they make sure all the numbers, and then we also look through it too, that, you know, if somebody's showing 60,000 and everybody else is showing 200,000, the engineer is going to pick up on that and say, well, there's a wrong number here. You get something
Good.
right.
Yeah.
I don't know if I answered your question, but
Yeah, that's, well, you know, one of the, I guess, and you just mentioned, you know, the difference when there's a big discrepancy, but like, you know, on the 12-inch, was it 12-inch line, 12-inch sewer, 18-inch sewer, you know, one of them's at 247,000, one of them at 550, one of them 660, 105, 607. Now, is that the actual sewer? Is that the actual sewer line?
so
They have a 12-inch and they have an 18-inch, and there's big discrepancy in those numbers too.
So it's probably determining where they're getting their product from and how much product that they actually purchase. Because I'm sure if you go to buy, I'm sure the cost is different for different companies if they use more product from who they're getting it from. You know what I mean? So he might have it hooked up where he buys all his pipe from this one contractor, one seller, and he might get a better price than another contractor.
Okay.
Do you think, is this going to be set up to where they can bring additional invoice or additional cost for something that either was left off or change orders, or is that pretty natural for all projects?
Hopefully not. I know we went through this, we had a pre-bid meeting the other day, and we got there on site, and there was a few things that can be adjusted that might be able to save us some money. But we also have that play where we're digging, and where there's dirt, there's usually rock. So that we leave that kind of, and then we get a bore under the highway. So that's another unknown. But you know, we're hoping that's the way it should be. We do with all the research that we did.
Good, because that's a big project.
Yes, it is. And there's 2 big projects going on right now. Well, 3. So he's there in town working on the other sewer line. He started today. So our goal is to get this approved, get the paperwork moving, and have him jump, and ideally have him jump on both of them at the same time. That's the plan. I don't know if it's going to work out, but that's our goal.
Yeah, Pace is big enough that they should be on top of things for sure.
Yeah. I think the first thing they want to do is dig a pit to get the bore under the highway. So I need approval for that.
Any other questions about it?
Nope.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to award the Warrenton Outlet Interceptor bid to Pace Construction, the amount of $999,500 with no alternates, the low bid.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Deloy, seconded by Alderman Schultz. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, roll call vote.
Alderman Shell Harvey?
Yes.
Alderman Dyer?
Yes.
Alderman Ock?
You're muted.
Alderman,
Yes.
Alderman Miller?
Yes.
Alderman Deloy?
Yes.
Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Next time I have is the change in cost of water meters. So in the code, the change in the code will allow the cost of the water meters to the public to be based upon current purchase price. So what that means is we had a set price in the code, and every time the price would go up, then we would have to change the code. So what we're going to do is just put it where it's a current purchase price, and then update that into the code to reflect changes in the cost. The current pricing and will be reflected on it will be posted on the bulletin board and posted at the Public Works Department and the city website. So what that's basically saying is, instead of every time the prices of meters go up, we got to come back and change the code for the price of the meters. That this is just saying that we're doing it at current price of what we're paying for the meters is what we're going to pass on to the homeowner or builder.
What is that number now, Guy?
I knew you were going to ask that. I didn't bring that piece of paper with me. That's sitting on my desk.
I know it says the old price is $225.
And I think it's $239. I think that's sitting on my desk in the office. $239.
Okay. So there's not much difference. Okay.
A little bit, but we don't know what this year's going to bring. So if we would have, you change it, and then this year they go up, or they change it halfway through, and we got to come back to the board and ask you to change it again. So if we just do it market value, then we're done with it. And there's going to be a build ordinance for approval at the end.
All right. Thanks, Guy.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Nope.
Thank you.
I believe so. All right. So we're to that point, I guess, for resolutions. Is that correct, or Melody?
yes, call for the first reading and passage of resolution number 329.
With resolutions, we don't have to do 2 readings?
No, sir, just one.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion for the first reading and passes of resolution number 329.
So
A
moved.
resolution of this, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
All right.
Second.
Alderman Deloy, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Is that Alderman Schultz?
Yes.
So motion made by Alderman Deloy, second by Alderman Schultz.
A resolution of the City of Warrenton, Missouri authorizing the temporary utilization of public sidewalks for outdoor dining.
Point of question.
Sure.
So the way this is set up is that there will be sufficient room for wheelchairs, I assume, which would make sense. Is that going to be something that we're going to have problem monitoring, or just deal with it as it comes up?
So in this, when Chris put it together, we made sure that there was the 5-foot requirement for ADA for the pedestrian way, I think it's called in this document. There will be a permit application, a no-cost permit application that will be required. And as part of that, the requester will need to provide a drawing showing the area that they're requesting to be used for the dining area. So we will have that on record so that if there becomes an issue, we can refer back to that document for the specified area that was approved. As far as compliance, if we start to get complaints, or if the sidewalk area is not being kept the way that it should, then we will need to address that just as we would any other situation where they're not following the requirements per our code.
Do we anticipate that if we allow this, that other merchants will be wanting to put product out on the sidewalk or other things? Has that been thought through? Or is that just, we're going to try and see what happens?
Well, Chris and I actually discussed that as we were working on this, and I suspect that there will be merchants who will want to utilize the sidewalk area. I would like to see us try this first. If you notice, this is done on a temporary basis. So I think that gives us the opportunity to evaluate how it's working, identify what problems that might arise from it, and determine if it is something that we want to keep in place once the temporary status is over and make it permanent, or do we need to make changes before we do that, or does it create a situation where it is more problematic than what it solves? So we felt like doing it temporarily, at least it would get us past, hopefully, this COVID-19 and the restrictions that are placed on the ability to dine in the restaurants, and allow us to see how well it works, or if it's something that we want to continue on a permanent basis.
Okay.
Section 2, subsection B deals with pedestrian zone. A 5-foot ADA compliant unobstructed area parallel to the street is reserved for pedestrian circulation, called a pedestrian zone. I think that's important, and that spells it out pretty good. So,
And if I understand it correctly, Terry, it's going to be a uniformity on table or whatever table they want to put out there. Is that correct?
Well, we talked about that as well. And where we landed was just that it has to be wood or metal. So it can't be those plastic Walmart things that if a big wind comes will blow them away. And it has to be approved by the city. So as these come in, we will want to look at them and just make sure that it's not something that's going to become dangerous. I believe if we decide to do it permanently, that it should be something that's consistent. But our thought process was during this temporary time, we would hate to make the restaurant owners go out and buy certain tables when they're going to be moving tables out of their dining areas anyway, and perhaps they could just move a couple of those out and not have the additional expense. I do feel, however, though, if we do this permanently, there should be a requirement for them to be a consistent kind and look so that it is aesthetically correct for the whole downtown area.
Yeah, with or without umbrellas, that type of thing.
Right. I mean, I think for right now to require those businesses to go out and purchase a certain kind of table when it may work and it may not isn't really feasible. But if it's going to become permanent, then I think we will need to make that decision about what we want that to aesthetically look like.
Okay, it makes sense. Yeah.
Well, I would think if this becomes a trend, it might be a good trend, because I think one of the challenges for downtown merchants, or any merchant for that, is how do you get your inventory out where public can see it? So if you're going down the street and you see something sitting there in front of your store, you might be more inclined to go in and see what's in the store. But if you just look at a storefront with nothing there, it's just a storefront, you have no idea if you should go in or not. Hopefully this could lead to a better way to merchandise product for the downtown people.
We are hoping that.
So initially, it's just going to be restaurants?
Yes.
Good.
Is there any other questions?
Nope.
All right, roll call vote.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey.
Yes.
Resolution passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion for the approval and reading of, I'll entertain a motion for the reading and passage of resolution number 330.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Dyer.
A resolution of the City of Warrenton, Missouri authorizing the temporary utilization of outdoor dining on private property.
Are there any questions for this?
Nope.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Ock,
Yes.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer.
Yes.
Resolution passes 6-0. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of bill number 10-2020 or 10-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Deloy, seconded by Alderman Miller.
An ordinance amending section 705.110 of the municipal code relating to water meters.
I'll entertain a motion for the second reading and passage of bill number 10-2020 or 10-2020.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Dyer.
An ordinance amending section 705.110 of the municipal code relating to water meters.
Roll call vote.
Alderman Miller,
Yes.
Alderman Deloy,
Yes.
Alderman Schultz,
Yes.
Alderman Shell Harvey,
Yes.
Alderman Dyer,
Yes.
Alderman Ock.
Yes.
Bill passes 6-0. I will entertain a motion to close the regular Board of Alderman meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Alderman Schultz, seconded by Alderman Dyer. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. And we are so adjourned.